Yeah.
Hello, everyone. It's Mike Blackburn here from CBS Co-operative, and I'm joined with from Michelle from HazardCo. Look, what we're going to talk about today is just some of the health and safety things that you guys need to think about when just sort of addressing some of the challenges that you will have with regard to the recent flooding in Auckland. Hi, Michelle. How are you?
I'm well. How are you, Mike?
Very good, very good. Now you're based in Wellington.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, and so obviously, like us here in Christchurch, we've had some pretty good weather over the summer break, but unfortunately, a lot of our friends and colleagues in Auckland haven't fared so well. Listen, you guys put out an email yesterday to the market, just talking about some of the health and safety aspects that people need to think about before they dive into some of this remedial work. Can you just give us a bit of a summary of the key points of that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We here at HazardCo, we know that there's lots of things that can happen across the course of a year, many years of you in business. So it's always really important that we try to just communicate from a advisory point of view and a health and safety point of view, how to keep businesses, basically get people through some really uncomfortable times. We've obviously had COVID, we've had Christchurch earthquakes years ago, and obviously just recently the Auckland and Northland floods. So you've got lots of things at play here. You've got mostly finished sites, you've got half finished sites, you've got sites that have only just got the ground laid, you've got people's personal homes and things that have been affected as well. And I think one of the big things that Kiwis classic, we like to roll up our sleeves and just get going and get the job done. So you're probably faced, in that region with, you've got muck, you've got flooding, you've got dirt, you've got, wet wood, you've got debris of materials, you've got personal items. There's so much going on. And when you just want to roll up your sleeves and get going, sometimes we kind of forget that there's a lot of health and safety things that kind of come with these situations. So part of what we talk about in the blog, in the blog that we've just put out yesterday is, yes, some common occurring issues and things to watch out for, some things that probably you may not automatically think of. But I think the message is really, I know we want to rush in and get the job done and clean up, but just taking 5 to really do a check on your site. I mean, obviously your home as well. Take the time to check your site for things like stability, electrical, slips, trips and falls. These are kind of things that you probably would have automatically thought about. But there's other things like asbestos. Like everyone in the industry knows that asbestos, when disturbed, is super, super dangerous, long-term health dangers to you and anyone around you. And all of a sudden, that stable asbestos is now on the ground in pieces. So when we roll our sleeves and get going, have we checked the material? Is there asbestos? Mike sort of said that we will be sending you links and things after this with lots of information about how to recognise asbestos, some Worksafe tips and tricks about what your obligations are as a business owner and things as well when it comes to these crazy events where sometimes health and safety is not quite as black and white. So in the blog, we definitely cover, sure, hazardous chemicals, slips, trips and falls, asbestos, biological hazards, which everyone feels a bit yucky and uncomfortable about, but you've got to think about what you're standing in there. Obviously electrical as well. The other thing that's really important to note is just the psychological welfare of you, your team, your family. This is so stressful, so many businesses.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Mike, you would have spoken to a few people up in Auckland as well. HazardCo team has spoken to lots of people, and the trauma involved and worrying about it happening again and then trying to safeguard. And then we're hearing some people who may not be even able to access their sites due to road closures for quite some time. And that comes with the financial stress and things as well. So it is about looking after you and your team. And that's outside of the physical health and safety aspects of when you get to site, how we're going to clean up and how we're going to do it safely.
Yeah, and look, and this was one of the things that Carl and I talked about yesterday with our experiences following the Christchurch earthquakes, and you started off by sort of saying, look, the Kiwi attitude, why, and certainly the construction industry is right. We've got a job to do. We need to get into it,
Let's do it.
of course, one of the problems, and certainly one of the things we learned here in Christchurch is that obviously any work is all about sort of getting paid for your efforts, especially if it's remedial work. And of course, if you're going to skip outside and you just sort of want to tear up the carpet and rip the wall linings out, well, just simple things like taking photographs but equally, even more importantly, before you get there, what are those hidden dangers inside the site that you may not be aware of, or certainly with your state of mind with some of these challenges, you may not be sort of thinking very clearly. And again, you said it, take a couple of minutes just to sort of look at the site, observe, and take a couple of deep breaths before you rush in and do something that you wouldn't normally do under circumstances. So there's a couple of things that are going to go on here, Michelle. Obviously, we've got building sites that are under construction, which have possibly sort of had some damage, but also we're going to have a lot of family homes and builders family homes which are damaged, and often we don't necessarily think about health and safety with respect to our own family homes. Tell us a little bit about some of those, the process of going through, of working our way through understanding what risks might face us.
Yeah, absolutely. There's and again, even if it's your own home, the same kind of rule applies. Taking 5 to really, you don't want to say take the emotion out of it, because always there's huge amounts of emotion when it's your own personal home, but taking the emotion out of the sensible, take 5. If you do feel that possibly your the ground's been disturbed, maybe something's not stable, stay out. Do the appropriate checks. We'll send links afterwards of who you can sort of get those checks to by either your council and bits and pieces. Definitely don't assume that your home is safe. The land's underneath it. Obviously, we've seen loads and loads of landslides. So we'll send out links for who you can contact for getting these things checked. Even though you want to rush in and grab the family album and all these things, which are completely understandable, think about your own personal safety and your family and things as well. It's there's obviously a lot going on, and I think it's that sort of take 5 message to double check both personal homes and sites is hugely important. And I know we've just covered, everyone likes to rush in, and that could be a takeaway from this massive flooding event that we've just had. But even after any sort of even minor weather event, it always pays to do a quick take 5. I took a phone call earlier on in the year, and the storm wasn't bad. It's not a huge event like this has been. And a delivery truck went down the shared driveway and brushed against a tree heading into the site, and a live power line had actually, was down in the tree. The truck dislodged it. It's now on the cab. Thankfully, no one was hurt. Yeah, and you think to yourself, gosh, that could have been so bad. But I think major events, minor events, doing that time to do a take 5, whether or not that's a site review or a risk assessment. You can, if you're a HazardCo member, of course, you can do these through the app. But it's just good practice. After anything that could change on your site, do a take 5, do that double check, and it just allows you to sort of take the moment to notice these things that may not be safe.
Okay. All right. Look, that's really great advice, Michelle. So, look, I really appreciate that. So, obviously, what we'll do following we get sort of this video up online, we'll put a whole range of links to the publicly available information, whether it be in that blog or some of those other resources you've got. Obviously, if you're already a HazardCo member, that's great. You've got access to sort of a whole range of these other resources. So look, thank you very much, Michelle, for taking the time to just sort of give us that little bit of an insight to the challenges that a lot of our friends and colleagues will be facing. And as I said, we'll you got a Q&A bot on your website if someone has any questions they want to ask.
Yeah, look, if they just email info@hazardco.com, we'll absolutely be able to answer questions that come through. But just, I guess, on that as well, HazardCo, we've got qualified advisors who take calls and things all the time, and it's just health and safety sometimes not as clear cut as you'd like. So if anyone's not sure what good looks like, feel free to get in touch.
Awesome, fabulous. All right, Michelle, look, I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much, and we'll get these resources up online as quickly as we can.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Take care and stay safe out there.